the fading Madison Rising music means it's time for me to start talking, and I am Professor Paul. And you know what, Jared? I don't think yesterday we acknowledged that we were in the Glass Case of Emotion Studios, which is located at Student of the Gun University, which it is. You should know that, but just in case.
And at Student of the Gun University, we have an entire room dedicated to people that are haters. So
to haters?
Yeah.
You mean the fight you?
Yeah, it's a padded room.
We have a padded room. We do
for the haters, so we can take care of
we got a lot of air and opportunity, and Jared's going to go ahead and he's going to. Did you already shoot the video, the fight you cage video?
Which video?
It's basically inviting all internet crap talkers and.
Oh no, I haven't shot the video yet, but I posted
I thought
a picture.
You were editing video yesterday. You were editing cage video.
I was just looking through it. It was some sparring video of when I was sparring.
Oh, okay. So anyway, yeah, we have lots of air and opportunity. Did you see what Yeager posted at the end of show season? He said, we've come to the end of the show season. He said, I attended the SHOT Show, the NRA show, and the Blade show, and combined total attendance for these shows was like, I think he said like 90,000. No, it was more than that, 190, because it's like 70,000 just at NRA.
Yeah, it was a lot. I did see that.
Yeah, he said combined total, let's just say, attendance for these shows was over 100,000 people. He said, and in all of that, he goes, not one person, not one internet crap talker approached me.
Oh, did you expect him to?
Yeah. Well, these people are like, oh, derp, derp, derp. If I was there right now, if I was where you are, I'll like, all right. Well,
here's where I'm going
to be. So if you want to go ahead and sort this out like men, not man boys or whatever. But anyway, I thought that was funny. But I digress.
We even have a trophy to give them when
we have
leave.
A trophy.
Yeah. On their way out the door,
on your way out the door, we'll give you this trophy. So, but my point is this: welcome to Student of the Gun, and I know a lot of people are listening today that weren't listening last week or the week before, and so I'm going to give you a quick word of advice. I want you to take a deep breath, breathe it out, Woosah. Open your ears twice, close your mouth, and listen. And not just today, but tomorrow and the next day and the next day. And eventually, you're going to get it. Because you're not going to get it the first time. I'm warning you right now. The first time you listen to this show, you're not going to get it. Because if you just read the title and showed up here, you have a preconceived notion of what you think it's going to be all about. What you think it's going to be all about is probably not. It's going to be much more than your expectations. Let me go ahead and tell you that. So here we are at the Glass Case of Emotion Studios in sunny Biloxi, Mississippi. We've got a lot to talk about today. Some crazy stuff, some things that are going to make you go, huh? What? Just how stupid are the American people? And that's a game that we're playing today. We play this game every day in the United States of America. We play the game called Just How Stupid Are the American Voters? Well, I don't know. Based upon the evidence, obviously, they are pretty stupid. But we've got more evidence for you. It's piling up, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Jared, it's Thursday, which means it's the last day of the public hour, the last public broadcast for the week. We've got an exciting Student of the Gun grad program radio show for them tomorrow. Did you want to tease them or let them know how things are going with the grad program? Jared is building... This is not
an empire.
Yeah, he's building an empire in the background, and he's going to tell you about it.
Yeah, pretty much what I'm doing is I'm making... We started... Dad was mad at me because I had him write PRs or descriptions for all of the bonus hours that we've ever done. Which
all
was,
the way back to the beginning?
Yeah, which was like 100 of them probably. Yeah, so...
It was a bunch.
Yeah, it was a bunch. So he had to write a couple paragraphs for that many episodes because what I'm going to do is I'm going to make those, I'm going to post them on Student of the Gun Radio, but they're not going to be available for the public. They're going to be available for people that are subscribed to the grad program, where you can get every single bonus hour that we've ever done. That'll be available. You can stream it directly from the page. You'll be able to download it. You'll be able to do everything that you do now and more. And in addition to being able to access all that. The tactical tutors will be on there. The discounts that we've already had obviously won't, but the future discounts will be. What else? Oh,
you're going to get basically the grad program's going to get everything that we're currently offering, but also archive access.
Yep, archive access, and I'm just going to go ahead and tell them what we're going to do.
All right.
The 5 strategies book that Dad wrote, the people that are already subscribed to the grad program, they had the opportunity to purchase that book for just a shipping and handling fee. So they've already got it. And what we're going to do when we roll out this new program is everybody that signs up is going to get a book for free. So it's basically the price is going to increase for people that aren't already subscribed. So the current subscribers,
the subscription price,
the current subscribers will have an opportunity to jump into the new program at the exact same price that they're paying right now, the $8.95 a month. But after that, the new subscribers I haven't decided on a price yet. Depending on all the content that we use, it's either going to be $14.95 or $19.99. Those are the 2 options.
And the new grad program, the 5 strategies book, if you go to the website, you see that it's there, but you can't buy it. And the reason you can't buy it is because it's available only to the grad program people. And we released the book to the current grad program. We gave everybody the opportunity, if they wanted one, to go and pick one up for just shipping and handling. And new grad program members, as part of your sign-up, you're going to get the book for free. But it's not just the book. What we're going to be doing is going to be 1 per week, right, Jared?
He's going to have a book study program.
Yeah, you're going to get that book, The 5 Strategies That Could Save Your Life, written by professional bodyguard Paul G. Markle. And you're going to get that book. Then, every week after that, we're going to send you a video, and it's essentially going to be like a home study class, and you're going to get to go behind the scenes. Jared's got me talking about, weird, crazy things that happened when I was working as a professional bodyguard in the United States, things that happened when I was in Europe, Mediterranean. I was down in the Grand Cayman Islands.
There's some pretty cool stories in there.
Things that you're only going to get because you're there. And we just want to let you guys know that, because we've always, since the very, very beginning of Student of the Gun, 3, 4, 5 years ago, not 3, 5 years ago, 2010, this baby was born. But ever since that time, we've been trying to give the audience, the dedicated followers, the people that really are paying attention, we're trying to give them a little bit more and a little bit more. And the new and improved grad program is going to be a way that you're going to have access to like material that nobody else has access to. And the reason you're going to have that is because you are a dedicated student of the gun. You're serious about it. You're not just a window shopper. You're just gawking. You're part of it. And keep a very close, as the summer progresses. Welcome to the family. All right, you ready to talk about some crazy stuff? Before we do that, let's thank our buddies at Brownells, brownells.com. Frog Lube, it just works. It's minty green.
Yeah,
it's non-petroleum based.
Speaking of dedicated supporters.
And Frog Lube, yeah. And Velocity Triggers, if you have a black rifle. You got a black rifle? You do? What? Here's what I want you to do. Check out velocitytriggers.com. If you got a black rifle, they can help you with that. Put a new trigger in it from your very own dining room table, if your wife will let you.
I thought we were going to start calling them happy rifles.
No, we're going to call them Deathmaster 2000.
Oh, Deathmaster 2000. Okay.
Yeah, the Deathmaster 2000.
If you have a Deathmaster 2000.
Or the
trigger for you.
It's not Deathmaster. Was it Death Dealer? The Death Dealer 9000 or something.
That sounds familiar.
That sounds familiar. All right, it's time for me to educate you just a little bit, because I know that if you're under age 30, you have not been paying attention that long. And when I say not that long, you probably weren't paying attention to what was going on in the United States of America in 1992. Jared, how old were you in 1992?
2.
You were 2. All right, so add 5 years. If you were 30 today, if you're 30 today, then you were 7 when William Jefferson Blythe Clinton took office. When Slick Willie slicked his way into the White House, if you're 30 years old today, you were only 7 then. And I'm assuming that in elementary school and even junior high, you weren't paying that close of attention to the Clinton White House and what was going on. But I was a full-grown adult then, and I was paying close attention. And let me tell you what. Shame on you, America. Shame, shame, shame on you, United States of America, for being so gullible and stupid, for falling for an MTV candidate. And that's what William Jefferson Blythe Clinton, a.k.a. Bubba, that's what he was. He was the MTV candidate. He was cool and hip and slick and young and blah, 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 blah. He was also a liar. He was also a reprobate. He was also a crooked scumbag from Arkansas. But none of that mattered. And these are all provable facts. This is not conjecture. William Jefferson Blythe Clinton was impeached. What? He was impeached? How many of you guys under age 30 know that? Now, impeachment is not conviction. Impeachment simply means that you were charged with a crime. And because our Senate was filled with weak-willed, spineless weenies, they were not able to convict him and evict him from the White House. William Jefferson Clinton became an attorney. He was a bona fide attorney at one point in time. He's since lost his law license. Okay? He admitted to committing perjury. Lied to Congress. He admitted lying to the people. And he lied and lied and lied and lied for 8 years. And we kept catching him in the lies. But that's okay because time heals all wounds, apparently. And so here we are in 2014, 2015, and a disgraced former president, a person who should have just put if he had 1 ounce of dignity in his body, if there was 1 speck of honesty left in this guy's body, he would have just retired and went fishing or something. But you can't do that when you're a megalomaniac like William Jefferson Clinton, when you desire the limelight. Even if the limelight sometimes, exposes you as a liar, as a fraud. I mean, I'm not even going to get into the BJs and the White House and all of that. I'm not even going to get into that. This person is a reprobate. This person is not someone that should represent the United States of America. How many of you know that he was good buddies with somebody that was just charged with, indicted for running a child sex ring? And that person was a Bill Clinton donor. He's a donor to the Clinton Foundation.
He donated children?
No big deal. No big deal there. That Bill got on Learjets and flew down to this guy's private island where they were engaging in conduct in Congress with underage children, with underage women, girls.
That never happened.
But you don't know just because he got on the plane and flew down there and is famous for all his extramarital trysts and affairs and so forth. You don't know that he didn't. Maybe he just went down there to get in a round of golf.
He did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Ms. Lewinsky.
None of them.
None of that. So this same individual, the Communist News Network, thinks that guy is a good source for State of the Union.
That's a pretty good look into their souls.
Yeah. So the Communist News Network, or as we called them in the 90s, the Clinton News Network, because if your name was Clinton, CNN was never going to point out you could do no wrong on CNN. CNN became the third arm, or they were the main propaganda instrument.
Is that when it started?
Yeah, that's when they started calling. Well, no, CNN, they were around. CNN became CNN because of the Gulf War.
I mean, when did the media become what they are now instead of actual fact providers?
Probably back in between 70s and 80s. Huh. It really ramped up though with the 24-hour.
When they actually had the ability.
When they started doing the 24-hour news cycle, that's really when it took off.
Okay. I was going to say when they had the ability to actually edit videos and make it look real.
You had to change things. But anyway, I digress. We've got a clip here, and this comes to us from the original source was the WashingtonTimes.com.
Their website sucks.
And but the audio clip that Jared's going to pull for you guys right now, and I want you to listen to Slick Willie here. I want you to listen to what he's saying. And this comes from the communistnewsnetwork.com/video archives, and it's from June 14th. Here, and a Jake Tapper, obviously someone who we should rely upon to get our news. Old Jake Tapper sits down with Slick Willie, the disgraced former president, and he wants to have a conversation about what can we do to improve the lives, what can government do to improve the lives of people, especially in places like Baltimore, Maryland. And go ahead and let us. The next voice you hear will be an aged Slick Willie.
What happened in Ferguson and what happened in New York City and all these other places. And there's a big national movement about whether the lives of young African-American men count,
Hashtag Black Lives Matter, yeah.
Yeah. You can't have a bunch of people walking around with guns. I used to tell people when we did Bosnia, Kosovo, anything like that, you get enough people with weapons around and there will be unintended consequences. People will make mistakes. People will do wrong. Things happen. To hold a community together, you've got to have a high level of community trust. If somebody that's in your family gets shot, you want an answer from somebody you know.
He's talking about trust.
And you want to be able to ask questions and get them answered and resolve that. So I think in addition to the economics, we need to look at the places in America where these things happen and they don't drive people into the streets because they actually trust the process for resolving them. There's such a trust deficit in America today. Somebody jumped on the New York Times because they accepted a contribution from our family foundation. Did you see that?
Yeah.
As if
was it the neediest cases found in the New York Times?
Yeah. Did we? Yeah, we gave them some money. Hillary told me that George Soros had given a substantial amount.
I don't want to hear about that. I don't want to hear about your excuse making. We're clean as the wind-driven snow. Let me see. The Clinton Foundation. What did they found out that 10% of the money that goes into the Clinton Foundation actually goes to the designated charities, and 90% goes to salaries, expenses, and other miscellaneous things.
Sounds like Wounded Warrior.
Yeah, no kidding. Let's quick. I know you guys you're probably sitting there. Those of you that know, those of you that are hip cats in the Student of the Gun audience, you probably just had to get up off the floor. Because William Jefferson Bubba Clinton just used gun control and the term unintended consequences in the same sentence. While talking about guns and gun control and people having guns, he just said there are unintended consequences. Is that not spooky? Those of you who get it? I know some of you are out there like, I don't know what the heck this guy Paul Merkel's talking about, unintended consequences. But the others of you are like, whoa. The hair just stood up on the back of my neck when that dude said that.
Yeah.
And that works in pretty slick with the conversation we had yesterday about NFA being, fraught with lies and fraud. So here we got William Jefferson Clinton, who's talking about Baltimore. And he says, when a member of your family gets shot, you expect answers. Okay, stop. A member of your family gets shot. You notice how that's just kind of like a blank, open statement there? Like, your cousin Phil was just driving down the street. He was going to go pick up a newspaper from the local newsstand and see little Jimmy give him a nickel. And he got shot. And you want answers. What Clinton's not saying is, if a member of your family is a felon, is a convicted felon, is a drug dealer, is a vermin reprobate, and the police shoot him, you want answers.
I can agree with one thing he said, and he said that there is a trust deficit in America today, and I definitely agree with that.
Well, no kidding, there's a trust deficit, and that trust deficit was created by your kin there, William Bubba Clinton. It was your people.
Oh, you said your people.
Your people, yeah.
What do you mean by your people?
Liberal Democrat scumbags. And this little, I'm not going to torture you by listening to this liar, this fraud, this disgraced former president who CNN apparently just forgot all about the entire decade of the 90s. Or is it that they just didn't care? And that, ladies and gentlemen, if you know nothing, if you learn nothing about the party members in the United States of America, we have a situation very much akin to the former Soviet Union. Now, in the former Soviet Union, only 3 to 4% of the entire population were active Communist Party members, were card-carrying members of the Communist Party. Very, very small percentage. But if you were a member of the Communist Party, if you were a member of the elite, because some animals are more equal than others, then you could do whatever you wanted. You could say whatever you wanted. Because, and you got, first dibs on toilet paper and housing and cars and what have you. In the United States of America, if you toe the Liberal Party line, the progressive line, if you say the right things, if you donate to the correct causes, if you have a capital D behind your name, you are a member of the party. And party members are exempt from the same scrutiny that the peasants and other people are, William Jefferson Clinton, if he were to have a capital R behind his name, would never be invited on CNN or anywhere after being disgraced and impeached as a president. It's only happened twice in the entire history of the United States. But because he's a good card-carrying party member, he's part of the ruling class, we're just going to give him a pass on all that other stuff. You need to remember that, and you need to keep that in mind when you're watching your news, when you're getting your news, and people get passes. Now, let's go ahead. When you can't have people walking around with guns. Let's go to Baltimore. Jared, will you do me a super big favor? I want you to go to the Brady campaign, and you know how the Brady campaign rates states by whether it's the best state to live in because their gun control laws are so good, or whether it's I think Mississippi might be like 49 or 50 on the one being best on Brady's list and 50 being worst. Go ahead and tell me, and we've referenced this before, but it was over a year ago, and I know we've got a lot of new listeners since the last time we referenced that. Go to the Brady campaign's thing and do their rate of state.
They've got a 2013 state scorecard.
Okay.
That's the most recent one.
Where does Maryland rate?
Hold on. I got to look. I don't want to download the actual thing, but I would like to actually look. So I click it, and it goes there. Maryland is MDA. They rate it in A.
They rate the Brady campaign for gun control violence, or gun violence control, or whatever they call themselves.
Oh, it's a blue. It's the top 10 states with the lowest gun death rate. Gun death.
Gun deaths. The guns aren't dying? The guns are still alive? They use the term gun death. Do they really use the term gun death?
Top 10 states with the strongest gun laws. 1, California. 2, Connecticut. 3, New Jersey. 4, Maryland.
So Maryland is in the top 5 most favored gun control states by the Brady campaign. So you get that, right? You guys dig how that works. And William Jefferson Blythe Clinton he goes on CNN to complain that the situation in Baltimore, that's what you get when you have people walking around with guns. What? Are you insane? Or, no, it's not that he's insane. It's just that he understands that, number one, the viewership of the Communist News Network is primarily stocked with idiots and sycophants and people, that vote for Democrats. So you can just lie. You can just look in the camera and lie as long as you act demurely. And they'll just be like, yeah, that's right. You can't let people walk around with guns in Baltimore, Maryland, because they need more gun control in Maryland. You mean Maryland, the state where the Supreme Court just upheld their latest gun control act? Where they said, yeah, we're down with that. Maryland, that you have to, unless you are a member of the ruling party, unless you're a member of the party, you don't get concealed carry permits in Maryland unless you're a party member. Maryland, the same one that's got, doesn't Maryland, Jared, don't they have a FOI card, a Firearms Owners Identification Program?
I'm not sure.
And they got an A rating from the Brady campaign? But we need to be really concerned about just people walking around with guns. Bill Clinton, I don't think I need any more of your advice. And, well, I was going to say, normally when you say...
Fode.
Yeah, Fode. All right, Fode, Bill. All right, let's move on. We've got some public school psycho news for you. You're like, oh, good. I haven't heard any public school psycho news lately. But before we do that, we're going to talk about carrying guns. If you're carrying a gun, you need to be carrying your gun in a crossbreed holster. Why? Because they're the most comfortable in the waistband, and they're the highest quality in the waistband holster you're going to get. So why don't you just buy some quality? That way you won't have to buy 2 or 3 holsters this year. Crossbreed holsters at crossbreedholsters.com. Century Arms, makers of the TP9SA, the C39 made in the USA AK-47. You know you want one. Go ahead and buy it. And you better get it now before the next. I'm telling you what, folks, if you want anything cool, anything that a free American would want to own, ARs, AKs, ammunition, all that stuff, you better go ahead and get it now while the price is low, as opposed to right before the election. Don't say I didn't tell you. And SWAT Fuel. SWAT Fuel, special weapons and tactics for the body.
Speaking of SWAT Fuel, go to our Full 30 video page, our account on Full 30. It's full30.com, FULL30.com/student of the gun. The featured video on there is actually with Dad and Dr. Dan from SWAT Fuel.
Excellent. That is fantastic. Yeah. Full30.com/student of the gun. And when you go to SWAT Fuel's store, when you're checking out, use the promo code SOTG2015, and you're going to save yourself 10% off your total order.
10%. If you're part of the grad program, you're going to get your code tomorrow,
and it'll be 20%.
It'll be 20%.
All right, you ready to get some little Johnny Psycho public school?
When grew up and went to school, there were certain teachers who would let the children any way they could.
Thank you, Pink Floyd, for giving us the psycho. You know, when I was in 8th grade listening to that, I never once thought that I would be using it someday on my own radio show as a part of the public school psychological terror update. Little Johnny has a gender identity crisis. Step number 1, United States of America, and listen to me. When you look at a dog, or when you look at a cat, or when you look at a horse, or a cow, or a pig, or a whatever, and you say, I see a pig over there, and you ask your neighbor, or your friend, or you ask the farmer, I don't care. You say, what sex is that pig? Male or female? Not what gender is the pig. What gender is that cow? No, when you're referring to animals, and human beings are animals. When you're referring to an animal is either a male or an animal is a female. And that would be, the little block on the checklist should say sex, M or F, male or female. Gender is used in language, both spoken and written. It is a language term. And you're like, well, what's the difference? It's the same thing. No, it's not. You went to public school. You need to flush out your head. All right, if you went to public school in the last 20 years, for those of you that went to public school previous to that, you probably know, especially if you took French, Latin, German, Spanish, you understand the term gender refers to whether something is masculine, feminine, or neutral. Oh, what? Now, in Jared, you took German, right?
Yeah.
You took German. So is there just one word for the in German?
No.
There's how many?
3.
There's 3, and they are?
Male, female, and neutral. Der, die, das.
Der, die, and das. Der is when referring to something in the masculine.
Yep, masculine, feminine, and neutral.
And die is, so you wouldn't say die man, you would say der man.
Yeah.
And if it's a male dog, you would say der. Now, das is neutral, meaning that it has no sexual orientation. It's not masculine, it's not feminine, like a table. Although, in the United States of America today, we might have to determine whether the table has a male or female gender identity. So
does that mean they're going to stop teaching German in high school now?
I don't know. They're going to stop teaching foreign language. But, folks, if you do one thing from this point on, stop falling into the socialist progressive retard trap and using the term gender as a substitute for the word sex. The word sex is not an evil term. It's not a bad term. It's not a salacious term. It means male or female. Like, for instance, the person sitting in this chair is a male. So my sex would be male. All right? Do we got that? Apparently. All right. And what have we said? How do you disarm a populace? How do you do that? 3 steps.
Ignorant, distraction, guilt.
Ignorance, distraction, and guilt.
Is that blog
and
article up?
Yeah. Oh, which
Is that
one?
article on our blog? No, it's not, but we need to put it on there.
I don't know, dude. I just write the stuff. But anyway, all right, here we go. TruthUncensored.net, the truth about political news. Starting in kindergarten, children will be taught heterosexual, homosexual, bisexual, and transgender lifestyles. The family life education lessons. Now, see, doesn't that seem to be really a positive thing? You know, when I say Family Life Center or the Family Life Education, you're like, oh, that seems wholesome to me, right? I mean, you know, if you saw something that said Family Life Education, you'd think, well, that's a positive thing. That's a good thing. That's what you would think. Kind of like our Canadian story yesterday, where the title seems really super reasonable. The family life education lessons will include teachings on heterosexual, homosexual, bisexual, and transgender identities. Lessons will include discussions about oral and anal sex and the different sexual lifestyles each live.
It's kindergarten.
And so starting in kindergarten, students, and you're like, where? In the Fairfax County Public School System.
In Virginia?
In Virginia. Wow. Shame on you, Virginia.
It is a Commonwealth.
Yeah, the Commonwealth of Virginia. Starting in kindergarten, students will be taught about same-sex or gay marriage practices. FLE lessons will be taught in public schools in Fairfax County, Virginia, and are preparing to include gender identity in the curriculum. Listen up, people. You want to create a nation of slaves? Sure, I want to create a nation of slaves because that's what we need. That is what the progressive liberal movement, the social progressive movement, that's what it's all about. You take a 5-year-old and don't worry so much about the whole alphabet and the 1 + 1 is 2 and green, yellow, blue and these are shapes and these are no. We need to not worry so much about that stuff. We need to talk to little Johnny about his gender identity. You want to confuse a child and totally F up their brain for life and get them focusing on things that they shouldn't be focusing on? Little Johnny I want little Johnny talking about dogs and cats, and I want little Johnny learning about shapes and colors and 1 + 1 = 2 and A, B, C, D, E, F, G and alphabet and stuff like that. I don't want my 5-year-old little Johnny having sexual awareness and gender identity discussions.
He doesn't need to have that. It's a fight.
Nobody, all right, until they have pubic hair or are about to have pubic hair, they don't need, and sex, and that's the thing, is sex ed has devolved into this like oh my Lord. Yeah, folks, this is real. You're like, well, what do you want me to do about it, Paul? You know what? I want you to do nothing. I want you to just post it on Facebook and then go back to watching the game. That's what I want you to do. Just go back to watching the game, America. Hey, is there a game on? Oh, there might be a game on tonight. I'm going to check my fantasy football stats, and I think maybe like there's a new reality Dancing with the Rhinoceros or whatever, or Hollywood's biggest sluts on parade or something. I need to check that out. I can't deal with the fact that the psycho liberals have taken over my school system and are just destroying my children's minds and polluting them with a bunch of filth. I can't deal with that. I don't have time to deal with the fact that my school is polluting my child's brain. No, there's a game on, and that's you got to have priorities in life. So I'm just going to go see if there's a game on.
No, I think game should be out. The word game should be outlawed. You shouldn't be able to say that because it's offensive to the gay community.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Game.
You just lost me. I think you're engaging in psychobabble.
Yep.
All right, so what do you want me to do, Paul? I don't know. I don't want you to do anything. I get that all the time. They're like, well, you told us about what's going on in these public schools, but what are we supposed to do? If I have to tell you as an adult human American what you need to do, I don't even know what to say to you. It's like your house is on fire. Well, my house is on fire. What am I supposed to do, Paul? I don't know. See what's on TV. That's it. That's what you need to do. My child is choking to death on a hot dog. Why don't you go see what's on TV? I don't know. What should you do? Maybe you might want to think about taking control of your schools. Or, they're the state's schools. No, they're your schools. They belong to you. You are the boss. And if you cannot be the boss, get your freaking kids out of there. That's all I'm going to say about that. All right, we got a story here. Hey, how many of you think still in 2015 that, all these undocumented immigrants who are here, they're just undocumented workers. They're here in America to seek a better life. That's it. I mean, maybe there's one or two bad apples, but, but if there are any bad ones, if there's a bad apple in that bunch of undocumented workers, well, that's okay because the government will catch them. And, we've got the Border Patrol and we've got ICE, baby. We've got the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE. And they'll catch them. And they'll stop the bad people. And so just the people that want to work and make some money so that their families can have a better life. Oh, WashingtonTimes.com. What do we have here? Well, according to the WashingtonTimes.com, it says that they've uncovered the fact that at least 121 murders, that's right, American citizens killed by illegal aliens, illegal invaders, people who are not lawfully in the United States. But wait, it's not just illegal aliens who snuck in that committed at least 121 murders that we've discovered. No, these are illegal invaders that were caught and then let go and then released back into the community. So how do you feel about that, Mr. and Mrs. America? The government whose job, the government's job is not to find you a job. Okay? The government's job is not to give you a phone, to rent you an apartment, to make everything equal for you. That's not the government's job. The government's job actually is to secure the borders of the nation and to protect the citizenry of the nation from threats from abroad. Did you know that? That goes all the way back to the founding. So here we have the ICE. And they're catching these turds like, well, we just can't send them back where they're supposed to be from. I mean, let's go ahead and start with the Washington Times story here. 121 murders attributed to illegals released by the Obama administration. Oops, there's an inconvenient fact. More than 100 immigrants whom the Obama administration released back into the community went on to be charged with subsequent killings, according to government data released on Monday. Now, this story is dated June 15th. That raises more questions about whether immigration authorities are doing enough to detail illegal immigrants awaiting deportation. In one case, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, acknowledged that its agents didn't find out about an illegal immigrant's death threats and court injunctions against him, which should have put him back in detention until after the man was accused of murder. That case involving Apolinar Altamirano is the latest instance of someone who went through the Obama administration's deportation system but was released only to go back on and commit major crimes. Now, these are murders. We're not even talking about the less serious stuff like rape, kidnapping, robbery, drug smuggling, you name it. ICE officials said they don't regularly notify local authorities when they release an immigrant and don't have a way of finding out if those authorities, from those authorities, whether a former detainee got into trouble with the law.
What?
All right, this is, I think part of my brain just died right there. It says, ICE officials, ICE, that's such a cool name. Are they cool as ICE? ICE officials say they don't regularly notify local authorities when they release an immigrant. Okay, is it a lawful, documented immigrant, or is it an illegal invader? And why are they in custody of ICE? They're not in custody of ICE because they came into the country legally. Do you understand that part? And don't have a way of finding out from those authorities whether a former detainee, hence lawbreaker, someone who's illegally in the country, gets into trouble with the law. Holy sweet Buddha on a mother rat. On a
mother rat.
So this idiot from ICE said, well, when we release an illegal immigrant back into the community, we don't have any way of finding out from the local authorities whether or not this person has been in trouble with the law. They've been in trouble with the law because you detained them as illegal invaders of the United States of America. What else do you need to know, you moron? Well, just because they broke the law doesn't mean they're a criminal. Am I living in the freaking Twilight Zone here? It says ICE was not aware of injunctions against Mr. Altamirano until after the January 22, 2015 arrest for first-degree murder, armed robbery, and other related offenses. All told, 121 immigrants who were held but eventually released by ICE went on to commit homicide-related offenses from 2010 to 2014. Who was in charge? And I forget. Comrade Barry Hussein.
I say it had to have been Bush.
So Comrade Barry Hussein's, his program to just because they're here illegally doesn't mean they're breaking the law. Does anyone else feel like they're living in upside-down, bizarro world? And the government that's supposed to care, that is actually supposed to be taking steps. I'm not asking the government to cure cancer, okay? I'm not asking them to come up with, a light bulb that lasts for 100 years. I just want them to do the basic job that was outlined in the Constitution. The whole, just go ahead and secure the borders. Can we just do that? That's it. I don't want you to find me a house. I don't want you to give me a phone. I don't want you to give me my daily bread. I don't want any of that from you. I don't need you to come and hold my hand cradle to grave. Just do your job. No, we can't do that. That's way too difficult.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. So
the next time you're talking to one of your psychotic pro-Obama friends, which you probably don't have many of those because you're listening to me, you might want to point this little tidbit out here and go to studentofthegunradio.com, where you will find each and every link to each and every story that we reference day to day today.
Well, you read my mind because I was just about to tell them that.
That's right. That's right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, that brings us right up to the end of this week's excursion, this week's public excursion into Student of the Gun Radio. Now, tomorrow we'll be back with the Grad Program Hour. And so for all you Grad Program listeners, we will talk to you tomorrow. For the rest of you folks, all of you students out there from coast to coast, sea to shining sea, and even those of you who are listening overseas, shalom. And remember, you're a beginner once, a student for life.